your forecast first. Sponsored by Matex Heating, Cooling, and Plumbing.
All right, good evening to you. Satellite radar picture, nice and clear. It's been another just beautiful day. We've had temperatures in the upper 60s and low and mid 70s, but we've cooled down. Again, we have these very nice afternoons, but then temperatures really drop off at night. And so we're back down to the 40s in Champaign, 55 Effingham, 57 in Springfield. We're going to do it all over again tomorrow. And look at those highs climbing back into the 70s. More sunshine. The weekend weather looks awesome. We will talk about thunderstorms. We don't do that too often in November, but we'll share with you when to expect some of that when we come back. WCIA 3 News starts right now.
Now on WCIA 3 News.
We know it's a close race, but just how close? What the ballot count looks like in one state. Plus, the pandemic's affected many things this year. How did it change the election?
And it's a new build for one church, but it's not for them. What they're gifting instead.
You're watching your local news leader. This is WCIA 3 News at 10.
It's very close in Pennsylvania, right? There's no question. And so that means it's going to take longer to actually see who the winner is.
It's also close in several other states, too, as both sides continue to wait for a winner to be declared. Good evening. I'm Paul Cicchini.
And I'm Jessica Coons. The electoral map in the presidential race has not budged in the last day. We are looking at the AP's map. Former Vice President Joe Biden in the lead with 264 to President Trump's 214. The AP has yet to call a couple of states, including Pennsylvania and Georgia. Now, in the president's first address since election night, he made false claims about mail-in ballots, voter fraud, and claimed the election was being stolen from him. His lead in a few states has narrowed over the day. Only around 2,000 votes separate the two in Georgia. Meanwhile, Joe Biden at his own news conference called for every vote to be counted, but expressed confidence in the eventual outcome.
This presidential race has proven to be unprecedented in many ways. The pandemic played a large role in setting this election apart from others in the past. WCIA 3's Jennifer Jensen joins us now. So, Jennifer, the pandemic has had a significant impact on voters, obviously.
Paul, it has the combination of civil unrest in the nation and two candidates with polarizing views on how to lead this country have culminated in a very close race. There were also significant changes to how people voted and how polling places operated to accommodate health and safety requirements during the pandemic. All of these things combined have led to an election unlike any other. Uncertainty circulated through the United States entering into the general election during the pandemic.
People were going to be nervous about going to the polls, being in crowds, using machines that other people had touched.
As the ballot counts rolled in, this election proved to show historic high voter turnout across the nation. That manifested in different ways in each state.
In adjusting, in getting ready for having more votes coming in by mail, the states made various changes, and lots of them lengthened the window for receipt of ballots.
Some states ruled that mail-in ballots would count if they were received by Election Day. Other states ruled those ballots had to be postmarked by Election Day and would allow up to 4, 9, and even 14 days to receive and count them. The nation is waiting on 4 states that still have to report final ballot counts: Georgia, Nevada, North Carolina, and Pennsylvania. This presidential election has shown to be a very close contest so far.
There was a little bit more doubt about whether the Trump loyalists would turn up in large numbers. I think they proved that they certainly did, and that they matched the anti-Trump faction in enthusiasm. So we had a very enthusiastic electorate, very polarized, but a lot of people who were very excited about casting their votes.
While the country waits for the final results of this presidential election, some things that will be taken into consideration are the possibility of audits of the final voter counts and a possible demand for recounts by either of the candidates. In the newsroom, I'm Jennifer Jensen, WCIA 3, your local news leader.
Certainly still a waiting game. Jennifer, thanks. Hundreds of thousands of people across Illinois turned out to vote on Tuesday, and now health officials want to make sure they didn't catch COVID at the polls. IDPH Director Dr. Ngozi Ezike is encouraging people who spent time in line at the polls to get tested. She's using the same advice that's been issued for months in the state. If you spend time in line at the polls and you feel like you could have been exposed, wait a few days and get tested.
I'd also like to encourage people who participated in recent campaign rallies, worked in polling places, stood in line to vote where maybe they couldn't maintain the 6 foot of distance. anyone who participated in recent protests or any other recent events, please get tested.
Election Day fell at a pivotal time in the state's efforts to try and curb the latest COVID surge. Every region in the state is under increased mitigations for COVID.
This is a follow-up for you. The governor wants state police to get involved if businesses don't comply with the state's COVID-19 restrictions. We've told you before what this will look like. It's a verbal warning first, followed by a written warning and an order. Finally, as a last resort, a ticket will be given to the business. Many Central Illinois restaurants and bars have already said they will continue to stay open to indoor dining. Turning now to state numbers, the number of new cases in the state has jumped more than 9,900. The positivity rate has also climbed to 9.1%. Almost 3,900 people are in the hospital. The recovery rate is 97%. 97 more people have died, including 12 in Central Illinois. That total is now more than 10,000. Breaking today's positivity rate down by regions, Region 6 is currently at 10%. The counties with the highest positivity rates there are Effingham at 17.9, followed by Macon, Clay, Douglas, and Cumberland counties. Over in Region 3, the positivity rate is 11%. The county there with the highest positivity rate is Greene County at 19.6, and that is followed by Calhoun, Hancock, Morgan, and Christian.
2 workers at the Eastern Illinois Food Bank tested positive for COVID-19. The public health district is contact tracing and the affected areas have been cleaned. But the president and CEO says that will not stop them from serving those in need. Jim Heyer says the priority is continuing to provide emergency food assistance. He says there's a significant increase in demand. Some in Urbana are facing utility shutoffs. Ameren is part of a voluntary moratorium program, but that doesn't cover everyone. Some believe it should. Supervisor of Cunningham Township in Urbana says this week alone nearly 200 people are on the shutoff list. She's been going door to door and warning them. She told WCIA most of them were shocked to hear it, including Cedric Robinson. His lights were turned off yesterday.
I was working. I am working. I was really expecting Ameren to at least give me till like 3 o'clock in the evening. You know, not 9 a.m.
This is really a public health crisis. We cannot shut off people's power or water during COVID, and the governor has to enact a statewide moratorium on shut-off.
People protected include LIHEAP eligible customers and people with medical hardships. Chenoweth says Robinson does fall under that LIHEAP umbrella. We reached out to Ameren. The utility says customers who reach out with issues because of COVID won't have their power disconnected.
One group in Urbana has a goal of ending homelessness in the city, and thanks to a new tax levy, they have more money to help them do that. It was approved Tuesday night and gives money to Cunningham Township. It'll go toward rental assistance, emergency food, and emergency housing. We talked to a woman who used to be homeless about how Cunningham Township impacted her life.
There was no judgment. They were there with loving arms. They gave my family a chance, and because of them, I now have secure housing. I have a job now. You know, it's like everything is falling into place.
The average homeowner will pay about $3 more a month. That will raise about $500,000 a year. This will start in May. New for you tonight, a homeless man in Champaign is getting a place to live for free. The First Mennonite Church is building a tiny home. They're donating it to outreach organization See You at Home. The man receiving this tiny home goes to that church, and the pastors want to make sure he doesn't have to live on the streets. See You at Home's director says this will be a blessing.
It just shows this incredible amount of grace to be willing to spend time and develop a relationship with this person. It's incredible to me to see the faith community really putting their faith into action.
The construction should be done in the next couple of months, and the man will be able to move in right away.
There's a new marijuana dispensary in Central Illinois, while the owners have familiar faces.
Plus, you've heard about man's best friend, but what about fine-feathered friends? What rule was declared in one community about chickens?
And there's a new requirement for athletes and student drivers at one school district, while the plan is finally being put into place.